Okay guys, for this next segment we're going to talk about care of the kukri and how to sharpen it. Let's start with care. Most of the kukris will have, traditional style, will have a wooden handle. And the inside of here is a rat tail tang, hence the little shiny button right there. The end of the tang is narrowed down to just a straight little narrow point. All this is slid on and then it's peened over the end. The wood, rosewood or some sort of foreign produced wood, is normally pretty good and pretty durable. They are prone to checking and cracking, so you need to keep them kind of moist. I recommend lemon oil or some of the furniture oils. Do a good job. Just keep a rag in a Ziploc bag with a little bit on it and wipe it down occasionally. Keep it from getting dry. The blade, you want to keep the blade shiny. You want to shine it up with steel wool. You want to keep it smooth and slick because when it chops, you want the edge to be smooth where it slices through and not get on through it like a horseshoe file. Now, I like to use a silicone cloth. You get these around the gun cleaning supplies at Walmart, stuff like that. Just simply a rag impregnated with silicone. Got a odd scent to it. But it does a real good job of coating your blades and things like that and the handles and preserving them and making them more field worthy. Now, if you have a Kryton handle, plastic handle, whatever, use common sense. If you have a handle that has horn back here, and many of the actual handmade kukris like these that come out of Nepal and stuff like that are going to have a horn handle on it. What you want to do is find a veterinary supply that deals with horses, and you want to look for the stuff they put onto a horse's hooves. Excuse me. Does a real good job of keeping that horn from checking, deteriorating, etc. Remember, it's just a solid hunk of buffalo horn. But by treating it that way, it'll last forever and you won't have to worry about it checking and splitting. Now, when you get done being in the field and you got a little mud on it like that or whatever, what you want to do is you want to clean off your blades. Now, if you got a little surface rust, it's got wet, been in your sheath, whatever, you want to take a little fine steel wool and sand it off. Make it as smooth and slick again as possible. Your edge. Always check your edge when you get home. And that's the next part. Now we're going to discuss how to clean up a kukri and how to sharpen it. Now, the factory edge on most of these kukris is very shallow. This is true of the cold steels and etc. They use two spinning wheels that they lay it up in between them and like that, and that puts a very small narrow edge onto the, making sure I ain't got company, making a very small fine edge, about the thickness width-wise this way of like a nickel. Now if you were to look at that under a microscope, it looked like that. It's got a little edge up here and then it kind of blunts out real fast. And that's a good edge for bouncing on something, but it don't cut in, and a kukri needs to cut. So you want to flatten it out to more of a thin, scandy-like grind on both sides. Luckily, you got a bevel that starts back here about a 1/2 inch wide and goes forward. That's what you want to do. Now, I use a mill bastard that has a coarse side and a fine side for my initial beveling and sharpening. Now, a file only cuts in one direction. So, I like to sit like this, lay my kukri down, taking the coarse side. I want to lay that file down there so that the slice will come from that 1/2 inch mark all the way forward, like that. Don't get in a hurry. Put a finger on top like you see there, hold it, put a little bit of pressure, slice. You'll feel it slicing metal. Now as you work your way forward, overlap, slice forward, come back, slice, come back, slice, come back. So you're overlapping about a 1/2 inch every time. This will keep the edge relatively even. Now, when you get up here in the sweet spot, you're going to get a point there where you're going to feel that the file isn't cutting, it's kind of sliding. That's where you got to bear down, take your time. Keep cutting all the way to the point. Now, two ways. You can flip the kukri over this way, handle away from you, and do it. Or you can flip the kukri around this way and then turn the file around. Remember, the file only cuts in one way. And draw. Exactly like you were doing the other way, but now draw to you. I like to slide it off the point of my knee as I do it. Like that. Now, once you do, take your fingers. Do not slide up and down the edge of the kukri. Remember, there are no minor kukri wounds. Pinch and pull to you gently, and you will feel if the edges roll one side or the other. If it is, you need to remove it. Keep coming up and make sure that the edge is relatively smooth front to back. If it's doing this, you need to do longer strokes. And I mean longer strokes, I mean like this longer. You're doing this. So do a longer stroke to even those waves out. You want a nice even edge front to back all the way. Now when the coarse side has made a good bevel all the way, flip it around to the fine side and go back over. Now you don't have to bear down as hard, but what you're doing now is you're removing those file marks, because as the coarse side cuts into the metal, it makes valleys and grooves, just like the file itself. Now you're going to take the fine edge, and I like to go against the grain. I cut with the coarse file this way, I'm going to cut with the fine file this way. And that's going to take off those ridges and make a smooth edge. When I get done with this, I shift to a small 6-inch mill bastard. This is what I carry in the field for touching up my edge. And I will just polish that edge by going along it, checking it for sharpness. Remember, do not slide on an edge, pull flat against an edge, but never slide. And getting up here at the tip, remember we talked about the tips used mostly for digging or poking a hole in something? Don't worry about making it razor sharp all the way to the top. About a 1/2 inch up, if it's a little blunt, that's okay. You don't want it dead blunt, but you don't have to have a razor tip up there. Okay? Now, after you've done that with the files, I recommend diamond stones. Now, I bought these at Harbor Freight, a 3 set, coarse, medium, and fine. These are more than big enough that you can use it to polish the edge. You can also use one of these round diamond hones. These are very good for carrying to keep your knife sharp in the field and for touching up your big blades like this if they're just not where you want them. Just take your time. Notice how I'm overlapping. And I want to pinch and pull. Don't slide. Slide slices. Just pull, and if there's a wire edge where that edge has done this, I'll feel that edge. And if I do, then I go back, let's say it's rolled to this side, then I want to pull against the grain and cause that little edge to kind of roll on over and snap off. So now I got my edge back. See? Okay. These are also very good for carrying in the field. This has a coarse and a fine side as well. It's very good for touching up. Now, I know what you're saying. Blackie, this is a chopper. It don't need to be that sharp. It does. It's a big knife. It's a kukri. It's a chopper. But it does need to be that sharp, because a sharp tool, does the job in half the time. So that whenever as I demonstrated a little while ago, I lean my target out and strain the fibers, when I hit it, pop, it goes right through it. It's nice, clean cuts. Less work for me. Now all you have to do is go pick up one of those little hatchets at Walmart with a round handle that's metal in the grip, and sit there and try to beat your way through a 2-inch piece of green wood one time. And you'll understand what I'm talking about. Because I can take a piece that big and lean it and hit it with this. Normally in one hit I'll cut through it. My blade is clean, my blade is sharp, and I hit it with good technique, like I've showed you. So it goes whop and slices, cuts. Remember the design of the kukri, continuous curve, it's slicing. And that's what I want it to do. Now, carrying in the field, 6-inch mill bastard, some sort of little diamond hone. Once you get home, check your blade then. Before you put up your gear, wash it off if it's a little muddy or whatever. Check the edge, go ahead and do a few strokes on it just to true it up if it's not perfect. Make sure the handle ain't got dry, caked in mud or whatever. So the next time when you're ready to go on your great adventure, pull your gear out, it's ready to go. You ain't, you get out there and discover that, oh, that big ding I left in it where I hit that rock, got to take it out. And now you want to draw a knife, a bow staff, and right in the middle of it you got this big old, that messes you up. I hope this helps, guys. Okay, stay with me, and we'll talk some more in just a minute. Be right back with you.